Hello, welcome back. It's Fred up in the shack. Another PMR radio video. Retevis have been very kind to send me another radio to test. This time it is an RB627B. Sounds a bit of a mouthful, doesn't it? This radio is what I would call they're slightly more upmarket, more expensive radios, but I mean, God, when I say expensive, we're talking $26 for this radio. That's about 19 UK pounds. I mean, it's pretty cheap, isn't it? But it is one of their more upmarket radios. Straight in the box, a very, very nice, clear set of instructions, including screenshots, if you like, there of all of the menu options, because this radio does have a display. I'm a bit of a funny old bugger, but I do like written instructions where you can sit down with a cup of coffee and have a look at them. Right, there's the radio itself. It's a nice looking radio. It's got a slightly longer antenna. I would say that the bottom part of it looks a bit Motorola. Maybe the top part a little bit like a Bofeng UV5R, maybe something like that. But yeah, it's a nice looking radio. It's fairly heavy. It's not too heavy, but it's got a bit of weight to it. Also in the box we have what looks like a belt clip and then a wrist lanyard, and that's good. And we have a proper desktop charger. Again, a bit like a Bofeng. That's quite good as well. Oh, we've got one of those little screen protectors. I do rather like taking these off. There is something quite, well, rewarding about doing that. And there we go. Turn it on now for the first time.
Welcome to.
Sounds a bit like a Bofeng as well. Now, first thing you'll notice, you've got a very nice bright lit LCD display, and you can see two sets of frequencies. Yeah, this is an A&B dual watch radio, so you have the option to monitor two different channels or two different frequencies, if you like, which is quite a nice option. You normally get that on 2 meter 70 centimeter radios, and yeah, it's quite nice to see that on a cheap PMR radio. Just going to go through some of the specs, see what we get for our 19 UK pounds. 16 channel legal, totally legal PMR radio. Has a 30 channel memory. Like I say, it's dual watch as well. Does have those privacy codes, the CTC SS and the DCS, the digital versions. Now, has Vox built in, that's voice activated transmission now, quite handy if you use a headset. Does have the standard 2-port Kenwood accessory ports there, so if you're going to put this onto a headset or something, then the Vox feature will be quite useful. Motorcycles, things like that. Timeout timer, again a good feature if you give this to maybe someone that likes to key up too long and exhaust the battery, so it will cut out over a certain time. Busy lockout channel, yeah, you can lock out channels that are being used probably by businesses or something like that. Adjustable call ringtones, 1 to 10, so again you can key up the radio, it will transmit a little ringtone. In a group or something, you all can have a different tone, so if you like, you might be able to distinguish the radio. Feature, a bit like a Bofeng, it has a built-in FM radio. It's quite useful for getting the news, things like that. Listen to music on it, but like I say, getting things like the news, yeah, it's nice to have on. Another useful feature that most of these PMR radios have got these days is a scan function. Quite handy to search around the 16 channels. Now let me just put this close to the microphone when I press it. Now does this or does this not sound like a UV5R?
Scanning begin.
It sounds exactly the same. Most of these little radios, there is a built-in flashlight. It's quite useful. I think this one's fairly bright. Let me just turn down the LCD lighting in here. Yeah, there we go. That's not bad actually. That's usable. Also has a hazard light as well. If you press that again. Yeah, there again. Not bad. And there is also a warning alarm. And I think that was flashing out SOS. So the main advantage of having the LCD screen is you can go directly
Menu.
into the menus, where you can turn down the squelch, the timeout timer, everything that you could do with a programming lead you can do with the menu. You can turn those digital codes off as well if you just want it to receive absolutely everything. Key light, bleep, it's all there in the menu. I think that's a great advantage really, other than having to connect this to a computer. You can do it that way if you like. I think the battery's worth a mention on this radio. It's a decent size, 1500 milliamp hours, lithium ion. And on standby, that should give you quite a long time, and even on transmit, I reckon that'll be enough to last the day. And it does come with the charging stands there, so as long as you've always got that plugged into a USB socket, you can just leave the radio in the stand and it's always fully charged, ready to go. Yeah, nice touch that. And I think that's about it for the features. It's just got enough features to be useful, but it's not enough to completely overwhelm your mind, which some of these 2 meter 70 centimeter radios are just so feature packed. A lot of those features you'll never use. And overall, it's a nice looking radio actually. It just looks more expensive than it is. You wouldn't think that's a £19 radio. I do like the fact it's got a fixed longer antenna. This is of course a legal radio, so it's half a watt. I will have a look at the programming in a second, and sometimes you can tune these radios up to higher power. Most of the Retevis radios that I've looked at are all locked on half a watt for PMR, and that's really how it should be. Now when it comes down to the testing, because it's got this longer antenna, and I just feel this is aimed more at a radio enthusiast than anything else, so I might try the testing a little bit different. I'll see if I can take it out a little bit further. Just bear with me on that. I need to check a few things, but yeah, I'll see if I can do something a bit different on the testing. Right, let me just look at the programming. Let's see if we can whack the power up a little bit more than the standard half a watt. I'm not going to do a massive detailed video on the programming of these radios. I have made one before. I'll try and put one of those pop-up cards in the corner of the screen now. If not, go to the Freddy in the Shed YouTube channel and you'll be able to find it. Now basically I just want to go into the programming side of this radio to see if it's possible to be a little bit naughty and turn up the transmit power from its standard legal half a watt. If you want to adjust the programming on this radio, you're going to need the appropriate cable. Retevis will sell you one on their website. It's about £4 thereabouts. If you have a Bofung and you have a Kenwood compatible programming cable, I think that would work just as well. The cable will need a driver to download and install, and you'll find that on the Retevis website. Go to the radio that you're interested in, go to the support section, and there you'll find a USB driver and also the programming software itself. Once you've got it installed, the programming software itself, it's pretty straightforward. Most of the information you're going to be interested in is that column there on the right hand side, where you can set the squelch level, the timeout timer, the Vox level if you want to use that, and various other settings. It's all quite familiar if you're used to Bofung radios. Like I said, yeah, I wanted to be a little bit naughty and see if I could turn up the TX power. Occasionally you can crank these up to a couple of watts, but yeah, to be fair, Retevis are playing it very, very safe, and on this PMR version the power is locked at half a watt. However, one thing that I think is quite useful, if you do not want the radio to display the PMR frequency, well, you can change it here and put in channel numbers, maybe 1 to 16, or name the channels anything you like. Okay, going to move on from this. Like I said, this is just an overview. If you're unsure about programming one of these radios, be sure to check out my programming guide where I show you how to download and install all of the software and the drivers at a very slow, comfortable pace. Right, let's get on to the testing. Okay, we're now going to move on to the testing side of it. Going to do two things here, two different types of testing. Firstly, we'll use the Retevis radio to another Retevis radio. We use the RT45. Now, just to let you know, I have done a lot of testing recently with PMR radios on half a watt with a fixed antenna in a built-up, and I keep saying this, it's a built-up housing estate with one radio inside the house. The maximum range you can get is about 750 to 1,000 kilometers. So say a kilometer maximum, but to be safe, so you can hear the audio, if you're going to use these around the house and at home, think about 700 meters. 700, but I'll do a testing in a second. We'll go outside, we'll do just a few hundred meters so you can hear how it sounds, and then we'll do something a little bit different. We'll go a little bit further with the testing on this video, but join me in the shack in a moment for that. But anyway, let's do a basic test as you would use these if you were going to use these around the house. Right, so here we go. Very local, about 100 metres from the house. One radio inside, of course, just to give you an idea what these radios sound like locally. Yeah, testing 1 2, testing 1 2, just at 100 metres from the house. Yeah, testing 1 2, testing 1 2, just at 100 metres from the house. 1 2 1 2 3 4 audio. Okay, here we are. We're about 270 metres now from the QTH, so no trouble at all for these little PMR half-watt radios. I'm going to go out a little bit further in a moment. We'll get to that in a second, but for now, just want to give you an idea if you use these around the house, around the home, 250 metres. Here we go. Yeah, testing 1 2 1 2, 250, 270 thereabouts metres from the QTH. Yeah, testing 1 2 1 2, 250, 270 thereabouts metres from the QTH. 1 2 1 2 audio test, audio. Right, welcome to the testing part. Now, I'm going to do something completely different that I normally do with these little PMR radios. I've got this small Lexion if you like, I think it's Lexion. This is a 2 metre, 70 centimetre ham radio. So it's not legal to transmit on this radio without a ham licence, but we're just going to be using it for receiving. This radio is going to be connected to my Antron 99CB antenna. Now, that wouldn't be a good antenna if I was planning to transmit, because it would be completely out of tune for this band. But as far as receiving goes, it should work pretty well, just like a piece of long wire really. It should work on the receiving side. So we're going to go out a little bit further and we're going to see how far we could get. Oh, as I say, I was hoping to be able to turn this radio up on the power side of it. I was maybe hoping to get a couple of watts out of it, but it is fixed in the program, so it's only half a watt, but it has got this slightly longer antenna. So it will be interesting to see what we get. I'll be having the squelch turned off on this radio as well, because people did pick up on that on the last range testing video, and you were right, I did have the squelch on. So the squelch is off. Audio check, 750 metres, 3/4 of a kilometre. Audio check, 750 metres, 3/4 of a kilometre, 3/4 of a kilometre now. Audio 1 2 1 2 1 2 audio check. So we are, we're at the 1 kilometre mark, and there's been a bit of debris around here. This is a couple of days after Storm Eunice. A few bits of trees coming down, but anyway, we're on the main road here, 1 kilometre from the QTH, so let's give it a go. Audio checker 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 at 1 audio checker 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 at 1 kilometre. 1 kilometre from the QTH. Audio 1 2 1 2 1 2 audio. Right, parked up over there. We're right on the outskirts of the village now of London Coney, and this will be the 2 kilometre test. It's a little bit busy, but we're going to be heading right up there on that motorway bridge. And when I get there, I'll show you something that I made a mistake on the last time I was there. I'll point that out, but let's walk up there off camera. Right, so here we are. It's a bit noisy and a bit busy, but this is 2 kilometres from the QTH. And last time I stood there, and some of you quite rightly pointed out that that metal screening on this motorway bridge over the M25 London Orbital motorway, that metal screening would have acted like a Faraday cage and it would have caused problems. So this time I'm still got the same height, but I'm going to walk back a little way along this barrier, and there's where I live, over that village there, and 2 kilometres in that direction is my base station antenna, and that's what we're going to be trying to get back to on just half a watt. And my antenna is in a massive built up housing estate, so not the best place, but let's give it a go. Okay, here we go, 2 kilometres. Audio check 1 2 1 2 audio 1 2 audio. This pisses me off a bit, you know. You've got a nice woodland area here, lots of wildlife, and someone fly tips all of this crap, just like stops and chucks it. Can't be asked to take it to the dump. I mean, those bottles there, you could recycle them. I'm not going to clamber down there myself and try and rescue it, but you know, there's no need for it. Just to dump all that crap on the side of the hedgerow and then drive off. No, mindless. That concludes the testing. Now, that wasn't a really fair test. Anyone that knows about radio will be able to tell you that. The carrier signal from the radio was getting back really well on my Antron 99 antenna, but that CB antenna, that's tuned for the 27 megahertz band. This is transmitting on 446 megahertz, so it's completely out of tune, and I think that's why the audio was quiet, and also the audio was bringing in just a little bit of noise. Now, this radio does have a slightly extended, a slightly longer fixed rubber ducky antenna. Whether that makes any difference on the range tests, I'm not so sure. Probably not, to be honest, but it does look better with the slightly longer antenna. Conclusions, good points, bad points. Well, do you know what? $24.99, that's at the moment, that's £19.50 UK, plus a little bit of postage. Less than £20 for this radio. I really can't say anything negative about it. It feels and handles like a really nice radio. It feels a lot more expensive than you would think at that price. I like the controls, the way the controls are laid out. I love the fact it's got a proper on-off and analog volume control. Yeah, there's not really much I can say against it. Of course, with the display, it's nice that it displays the frequencies there on the dual band. I think I would probably, myself, I would pick up a programming cable at the time of purchase. It's only about £4 when you order. And I would change that display. I think I would just have the channel numbers. That dual watch feature where you've got the A and B frequencies. I think if you're thinking maybe of a business, a school, something like that, and you've got some of your employees using these radios, to be able to monitor two different channels at the same time, I think that's an advantage. It's very much aimed, I think, at the enthusiast, this radio. It does have the FM, built-in FM radio. I think that's good for getting the news, and at the time that I'm making this video, that's quite important with what's going on over in the eastern side of Europe. So I've been listening to the news reports on this radio. Like all Retevis radios I've tested, this one has the digital privacy codes. They're not really private codes. Think of them as convenience codes, so you won't receive other people's transmissions, which can be annoying if you're in a little group of you, something like that. You can go into the menu without using programming software. You can switch that off entirely, and then you can hear everything else that's coming in on the band. I'll leave a direct link to the Retevis website to buy this product. I'm not on any commission, I'm not on any kickback. I'm very pleased they sent me the radio to test, but this is an honest review, so please don't think I'm getting any payment for when you buy the radio. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I'd like to say cheers, thank you for tuning in. I probably will do some more testing on these Retevis radios in the future. I do have a T2LT 2m 70cm type wire antenna and a fiberglass extendable pole, so I'll probably shoot that up in the summer in the garden, and we might see what range we get on a proper receiving antenna. But as for now, as always, please stay safe, look after yourselves. Thanks for watching the video, do appreciate it, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Cheers, guys. Let's just talk some of the spec, what you get for your £19. Well, firstly, it is 16 channels. That's the 16 channel PMR. The radio has 30 channel. Whoa! Hello. Get off. Oh my God, we got a bloody bird in the shack. Jesus, did you see that? That took me by surprise. I hope he knows how to get out. He got himself in here.